Once again, we gather in search of the truth, dark, and mystery. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Big development today in the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. According to state and local officials and court documents, 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger has been arrested. He was arrested and arraigned this morning in Pennsylvania.
We have new details on what Bryan Kohberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latex gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm Daniel, and today we're back in the Bryan Kohberger conversation. There's a Frank's motion that I think everybody's kind of on their tiptoes, waiting to see what's going to happen, see what the decision is. In fact, I'm going to go and just double check before I put my foot in my mouth and see if there's been a decision already made. It does. Well, I guess there is something there else that's new out here in the Bryan Kohberger case. See a couple of things that were just dropped since the last time I looked a couple of hours ago. Let's see. I'll just bring it up real quick. But yeah, apparently there is a new document. What is today? Today is the 5th. Well, it's been a while for me, guys. I want to thank everybody that's been checking in on me. Before we get into the conversation, I want to take the time right now to thank everybody who's messaged me, emailed me, sent comments, those type of things. Wishing me well and the prayers. I truly appreciate it. I know I've been trying to get on. I've taken quite a bit of time off. The injury to my arm has it's getting better. It's a lot better, but it definitely has taken a lot more out of me than I thought maybe initially would, especially on days like, for instance, yesterday where we had to change out the wound vac, where that is one of the most painful things I've ever gone through. Removing the wound vac it's something else, especially since yesterday, if those that are in the medical field may know, it got stuck. The sponge did. They had to physically remove it, and that was one of the more painful things ever. Well, anywho, I want to also give a special thanks and a shout out to those who had helped out and supported financially. There was a lot of super chats. There's been a lot of super comments in the show that I put out, talking about my experience and things of that nature with my buddy Big Blue. I know a lot of people were asking about Big Blue. Well, he showed up. He was on the channel, the last video. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Me and him had a conversation about my arm and the ketamine trip that I took on my while I was dealing with a very serious injury. And a lot of folks came through. I want to say thank you. I'm still getting quite a few questions about it, and still getting some donations. Again, if anybody who's interested in donating and wanting to help me out, I'll put it down here. PayPal. There's the PayPal, and there's the Cash App. It's also in the description as well. Drunk Turkey Show with the money sign in the front for the Cash App and PayPal. Drunk Turkey Show. Well, anywho, I want to give a special thanks out to those that did support us, and through those manner we have Connor, Marion, Buffy, Affy, Nina, Mickey, Elizabeth, Arthur, Kathleen, Mitchell, and I also want to thank a few of the other creators that are out there who showed a lot of support, sent a lot of viewers my way to say, they heard about the situation through their channel, across the board, whether they were channels who maybe agreed with my opinion or view or not. So just a lot of support and a lot of love from all across the board. I want to say thank you to all you guys. Nina from Warning Label, who may end up coming up on the show here in a little bit, talk about some. She been putting out some videos and some stuff, some shorts with me in there, and I want to say I appreciate those, and thank you every single one of you guys who have checked in. It is truly appreciative. I couldn't tell you how much love and blessed that I feel. I want to thank you guys before we start. All righty. Now let's get that going. So before we get into today's conversation, I kind of want to see what all this new stuff is. I think that the last thing that I had looked into, or what we're going to look into today, was going to be the where is it? Right here, the notice of filing list of stipulated exhibits for motions to suppress a motion for Frank's hearing. Angel D coming in with a $2 super chat saying, "George Steelers fan, nurse outfit." Yeah, so she's the one that's been packing my wounds. My wife has been packing the wounds on my arm. It is crazy. And so, well, anyway, we're gonna be going through the exhibit list. There's like 11 pages of this stuff. We'll talk about that and what these things mean. And if there's any type of, I guess I can kind of see a little bit of where the defense might be going as far as what they're trying to say. We'll kind of discuss what potential, just kind of speculate on what they might be trying to argue when it comes down to the Frank's motion. If we get there, I know that that's still something that we have not yet gotten the word on. But let's before we go into that, I'm just how did they say curiosity killed the cat? Let's see what this is. Notice to intent. That's only 3 pages. All right. Notice of intent to use IRE 404B evidence. Comes now the state of Idaho through Ashley Jennings. So this is the prosecution's evidence. Hereby gives notice pursuant to Idaho rule. The state must intend to present evidence of crimes, wrongs, or other acts, specifically video or traffic stop occurring at West Pullman Farm Road in Moscow, Idaho on August 21st, 2022. I'm sorry. August 21st, 2022. Man, I said a lot of 20s there. Involving Bryan Kohberger and Corporal Darren Duke. That's not the one that we've seen, right? Interesting. I wonder if there's anything that we're going to be able to see inside. I could be wrong, but this doesn't appear to be the one we saw, because the one we saw was a female officer with the turning. I think it was something about being in the crosswalk or whatnot. So this is something that is completely different. This is a different traffic stop. I don't think this is one that we have seen before. Interesting. I wonder at what time of day / night that this traffic stop occurred. There was a citation regarding the traffic stop. Okay. The state intends to introduce evidence for purpose of providing defendant's identity, vehicle, address, and phone number. This issue has been previously addressed by the courtroom on December 15, 2023. Sealed order denying motion to dismiss the incident on the grounds of biased grand jury inadmissible evidence lacks sufficient evidence. Okay. All right. So this is, I guess, basically what they did here was what the state is saying is that they were able to get Bryan Kohberger's information based off of his phone. Based off of his vehicle that was found, right? Because they're not using the IGG. So they're going to say that, hey, we found his vehicle. And then we also utilized this traffic stop so that we can get his phone number, his vehicle identification information, and all that other stuff. Since this is their stuff, they can use this, right? This is the law enforcement and police information. This isn't something that, they need to go out there and necessarily get like a warrant for it, so to speak. But what this does is this provides them with his phone number so that they can compare with the cast information or the warrant for the phone numbers that were connecting to the tower closest to the Queen King Road residents during the times of the murders. And so this is what they were utilizing as a means of gathering that information, right? So the defense is trying to throw this out, right? They're trying to say that the means in which they got his phone number and all this other things, it's just too broad. It's not enough. And what the defense or the state is saying basically is like, hey, it's not necessarily that it needs to be narrowed in that aspect. It doesn't, because they already have this evidence. This is their evidence already. They already had his phone number. They had access to his information that they could then in turn utilize into the database to see if his phone turned off during that night or not, if it dropped from the network as it did later, or if it ever was connected to. And so right here, it's kind of like when we talk about the DNA from dad, right? They threw it out. It's out in the trash. it's good. Like there's nothing that the defense can say that is going to be like, oh, well, that collection of DNA is illegal because whatever means, right? There's nothing that they can do about that, which is why, the judge comes in and says something to the effect that when it comes to the probable cause, that DNA trash pool would have been enough to give, the law enforcement probable cause to do this all the way across the board, right? To get the phone numbers, to get the phone pings, to get all those things, it would have been enough just with the DNA alone. And so this is kind of like with that. This is just kind of saying, all right, this is one of the pieces as far as how we got to him without having to say they violated any of his rights. Is basically what I'm trying to say. All this in one. Let's see. Is this the one at 11:30 or at midnight? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I think what it's showing and what it says in the probable cause affidavit as well is it shows that the vehicle was missing the front license plate. It shows that he is the occupant of the vehicle, that there's nobody else that, when it comes to all the other opportunity or all the other times that he's been seen with the vehicle, that vehicle's not been seen being operated by somebody else, meaning that, and also he even admitted that he was out there alone by himself that night. So he can't come out and say that somebody borrowed his car or somebody was using his car, he lent his car out or any of those type of things as far as why his vehicle was seen in that area and whatnot. Let's see. This is the stop that everyone's FOIAs get denied on. No seatbelt, maybe. I think that's what everybody was looking at, right? On the in the Discord on the one stop. That is what it is. The no seatbelt citation that nobody can get an idea of what it is. Yeah, like I said, it's just which is interesting because let me see. Let me pull that up. Let me see if I can pull that up from Discord and see if I can bring it here. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, I want to see what time was it. This doesn't say what time it was, right? No, don't say what time it was. Okay, it's right here. 15 Elantra. All right, location. Okay, there it is. And somebody can just throw it out there in the live chat what time this was. That would be great because the picture I have is kind of blurry. Violations, court information, citations. $11:40 p.m. So this was pretty close to midnight. This is close to midnight. What was the violation? Vehicle safety restraint failure to use. How do you see that at night? Now, there's one thing about getting a citation for one thing and getting stopped and pulled over for another. So I wonder if there's something else to it. Huh. That one's interesting. Because if he doesn't have his, he must have been, you know what? The officer must have came up behind him, right? And, it don't seem like Bryan Kohberger's vehicle has tint or the darkest tint if it does. And so you're not going to be able to see that on the Linda Lane footage. I know there's a lot of people are trying to look at the car on the Linda Lane footage and be like, oh man, it's too dark. It must have tint. You can't see his face. No, that's not. People are just, yeah. Anyways, so you're not gonna be able to tell if it has tint or not. But when you're pulling up behind a vehicle in the dead of night and you hit your high beams into the back of somebody's vehicle, you'll be able to tell whether or not they have their seatbelt on. So that may be in a situation, but you normally don't. The times that is really really easy to do is especially if there's not a lot of light pollution, there's so I'm gonna probably, let's see if I can get this on a map real quick. Less than a mile from 1122 King Road. Interesting. Thank you, True Crime Insanity, for becoming a YouTube member. We appreciate that. All right, let's see. The wrong button. I removed myself instead of oh gosh. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still under some medication from my injury, and so still a little loopy. All right. Where to go? There it is. All right, so let's pull up this map real quick. This is the residence. This is the neighborhood here. All righty, let's see. Extreme Blonde coming in with a $5 super chat saying he's back. I'm trying to be. I quite like the loopy Daniel. yeah, I'm a little bit loopy still, I'm not gonna lie. Canadian True Crime Buff coming in with 5 gifted Drunk Turkey Show memberships. All righty. So let's see. Let's go back to where were we? Here. And nope, I don't want to do that. Let's copy this address here. Put it here. All right. So, yeah, I have marked this before. I mean, this is just the road that's coming in and out of Bryan Kohberger citation location. All right, let's see. And that could be where he got him to pull over. Usually that's when you put in the location spot. So like if I'm driving and I capture somebody speeding, right? And let's just say I'm traveling here and I clock them speeding through this intersection. I turn on them and we pull over here at the Red Star Coffee Shop. The location of the violation is over here at where I documented it, not where I pulled him over. Now that was my way of doing things. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way these guys did it. You know what I mean? Because I mean it's not close. Oh, let me see. Farm Road. Is this Farm Road, I'm assuming? That's perimeter. So it may not even be here. It may be somewhere else. Because this is what shows up when I put in that address, was this intersection here. But in reality, I mean, it could have been a number of different farm roads. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, it could have been it could have been this road here along a bunch of different places and amongst many of these farm roads. So I'm not sure. Let's see. All right, let's go back into what we were going to be looking at for today. I'll keep my eye on those things and see what comes out of it, but that's basically it. Let's see. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was going to be the Frank's motion hearing and some what the exhibits are. Let's go into some of this. So some of these exhibits that I wanted to talk to you guys about kind of gives you a play-by-play what it is that maybe perhaps the defense is planning on doing, or some of the things that the defense may be trying to do. So right now, as you can see, that they want the communication between Detective Payne and Balance, and a lot of the stuff here is early on is going to have to do with the Google, the AT&T call records, and the locations and the pings, stuff that we've heard of quite a bit. What I did notice here is that there still is going to be an affidavit of Cyray. So Cyray appears to still be on the defense's list of folks that they plan on bringing in. So we'll be able to hear what he's saying. But I think we've already got an idea of what he's going to say. And what he's going to say is that at the time that Bryan Kohberger's phone went off of the network wasn't at 240 something. It was at 250, whatever. It was about 7 minutes after the PCA claims it does. And he's traveling in a different direction away from the King Road residence. That doesn't necessarily mean that he can't turn around, bust a U-turn, do any of those things, especially if he's anticipating or planning, and he being Bryan Kohberger, of committing a crime and saying, all right, I'm going to throw everybody off by traveling this direction, turn my phone off or put it in a dark bag, turn around and travel back, right? So, because at the end of the day, we do know that he ended up traveling at least some more. He ended up going the other direction, right? So when his phone does come on, it doesn't come on that he's at Wildlife Park. It doesn't come on that he's southwest of Pullman or any of those things. It comes back on he's south of Moscow, east of the direction of where he was, or the direction of which he was facing at when his phone went off. So at the end of the day, his phone turned around and went the other direction. And as we looked at on the maps, we can show that he can go the opposite direction towards Wildlife Park and still get to the Indian Hills, 700 block of Indian Hills Road at 3:28 a.m. with plenty of time to go that direction, turn around, or loop all the way around and come all the way behind Moscow. There's several different directions that he could have gone in. That would have put him still in Moscow with plenty of time to have been in the location where he's finally captured on camera, where the PCA starts. Now, I'm sure that the PCA and is just one thing, and where they actually start capturing him on camera are two different things, right? We know that there's a Floyd cannabis shop camera that, at least at one point, law enforcement or prosecution have, or think they have, a video of potentially what would be Bryan Kohberger. There is the affidavit of Tom. What is this? Tom Slovinsky? Now let's see. I pulled something up on good old Tommy Slovinsky. I don't know much about him. He's just a cellular forensics. He's with the Office of the Indigent Defense Services. So he is an expert for defense teams. I'm assuming this is the first time I've seen this. So I looked him up, saw this, opened it, but haven't actually looked into it. Office of Indigent Defense Services. So indigent usually means that you can't afford your own defense or whatnot. That's when you get when somebody's indigent, that's when they get a lawyer. So I'm assuming this is for public defender experts. And this is going to be something referencing cellular forensics, specializing in handling call detail records, analyzing mapping and court testimony and indigent defense, criminal casework, expert witness, over 30 years of police, private, and forensic investigative experience. All right, so that's going to be Thomas. He's going to be joining the defense team as they try to explain to, I guess, the judge, because there's not a jury in the Frank's hearings, that this is and I guess also this is going to be what we may end up hearing in court. Their defense may be that, hey, he claims he went over here. This is evidence that he went over there. He drove that direction. We see him driving that direction, or we have his video, his phone traveling that direction until it turns off. I mean, they're going to leave the rest of that off. But they're just going to say, hey, yeah, see, he said he was going there. And as you can see, there's evidence of him driving that direction. And then just kind of like that meme with The Simpsons where Homer kind of just backs into the bushes. That's basically what they're going to do, is look, see, he went that way, and then try to slowly back into the bush while the prosecution goes in there and explains that there's multiple ways to get from that direction, traveling the direction that he was traveling at the time that his phone turned off, to get to the King Road residence or to the places where he was located or where he was captured on camera within the time frame that they need him to be in. Even if all that means is that as soon as he turned his phone off, he completely stopped the vehicle and busted a complete U-turn and went the opposite direction. So those things are completely possible, right? So let's see. Let's get back into this. They're going to go over Officer Nunez's transcript and summary. Okay, Detective Maury's transcript and summary. Emails with vehicle identification experts. Payne's IM Communications, Bolo's reports. 52 by Brett Payne. This is the test run. So all these things here with the vehicles and emails and stuff, to me, that tells me they're just trying to solidify also like when they identified the vehicle. And I mean, stuff that I've already been talking about, been beaten on like crazy, like a dead horse about they're going to argue and say that that the IGG is really where they got Bryan Kohberger's name from, not from anything else, and yada yada yada. So we've already gone down that. That's one of the things that they're arguing about. But the defense, as far as why they're saying that the state is a liar or the prosecutions are liars, is because they didn't state it was from the IGG, that they left that out of everything. Well, anyways, this is where all that's going to come into play. The Bolo, they're going to say, well, look, they were looking for 11 to 13 out of 15, et cetera, et cetera. I want to say thank you to Sirius Black for your $10 super sticker. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. So let's see. So here's the interesting part, right? In my opinion, and I think this is going to be a part that kind of tells a little bit about what maybe the defense also we might expect to hear. And that is that there was a lot of time, right, between when this crime occurred and when the 911 call came in. We have a couple of witnesses who it sounds like maybe perhaps Dylan was under the influence of alcohol and doesn't remember everything correctly. And then you also have this dog, right? You have the doors open and they've brought up the dog multiple times. They've brought him up. And the prosecution or the defense says some things all the time. They'll throw some things here or there, just kind of like when they threw up the fact that in 2001, they went back all the way to 2001. Remember, they kept bringing back 2001. And then here recently, they talked about Bryan Kohberger in 2001 and his warrants going back. Well, that's because there was another case where somebody tried to break into somebody else's house. Very similar situation in Pullman, Moscow area in 2021. Not 2001, I meant 2021. And in 2021, and they were checking to see if it was him. And now the defense is going to say, hey, well, obviously it wasn't him, but those things are close enough to say that maybe that person is the person that committed this, not Bryan Kohberger, blah, 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 blah. Well, anyways, when it comes to this, they keep putting out those little things. They brought up the dog. They brought up this. And now I'm seeing a lot of little things about the dog. And what do we know about the dog? We know that according to the defense, the doors were open to all of the victims' rooms. Now, one door was closed. According to the defense, the dog was completely clean. There was no animal hair or there was no bloody paw prints or blood on the dog or anything like that. Okay. And so why are they making a big deal about that? They want to see the video that the dog's in there. The dog's not in a locked room. I think what they're trying to indicate or say is that maybe there was some sort of cleanup, because how could the dog have not gotten blood on its paws or whatever the case may have been, right? But that's also assuming that they know what the dog is going to do. That's also assuming that they can speak to the dog and the dog's going to tell them things and tell them how it felt and if it was scared enough to leave the room or not, or that it did leave the room or not. And it's just some things that you can't you can't factor in. I mean, they're going to try, to me, it seems like they're going to try to say like, well, something seems odd that the dog, in all of that time didn't go in there, didn't check up or do any of those things. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think the dog was a puppy at the time. I'll double check this information, but I'm pretty sure it was a puppy at the time. And if it heard some horrific things, it may have just been scared out of its mind and hiding and been in the room the entire time. I mean, that's just quite possibly what it could have been. And I think that they're going to try to say something referencing to the dog there. Let's see. Thank you, Miss O, for your $5 super sticker. Appreciate that. Did they even test the dog for anything? From what I understand, yeah, I thought they did. I thought that they tested the dog hair. I thought there was from what I understand, they did. I don't know if there was anything that came out of it. I can't tell you that. But I thought that they had picked up the dog and checked its hair and things of that nature. Truth says, I think the doors were closed, but opened by the students. When the cops got there, the doors were already opened. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but I'm not sure. Couldn't tell you. Let's see. 100% they believe they'll mitigate the mental illness protection by the Eighth Amendment. Oh, yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of that stuff. Doesn't look good, but I'm not a lawyer to go into any of those things when it comes to his. Because I saw something about the mental health of him and his family members, and I don't know. All right, so let's see. Shoe print outside of Dylan Mortenson's room. Department of Justice interim policy. So this is where they're going to say, hey, look, they violated their own policy, but violating policy isn't violating Constitution or law. That's a huge difference, right? Letter from Latah County prosecuting attorney dated 6/24/24 to author regarding database searches. A couple lab reports. Psy-Ray cases. And then there's these no connection stuff, right? So there's the lab report 28/29/30 with nothing on there. And then lab report 1/27/23, fiber hairs, no connection. Another hair fiber, no connection. Biology analysis notes, photos, negative blood. And then on 1/23/23, DNA. And they have interviews. They have two separate interviews, one on the 17th of November 2022, and then one on the 1st of December 2022 with Dylan Mortenson. These are the state's exhibits. And so, there's a difference. I've been just kind of talking about the defendant's witnesses. Now, the state's witnesses, you have the interviews with Dylan. Let's see. FBI SA Hill report regarding video surveillance. Screenshot from Nunez's body camera at 12:04:55. So that's right when he arrives there, right? 11/13/22, 12:04:55. So right around the time that he arrives, this is a screenshot from then. All right, now back to the defendant stuff. There's the motion to suppress genetic information. And we've talked all about that. AT&T warrants. State exhibit, Pennsylvania State Police report, general offense report regarding custody of Bryan Kohberger. This is the state's exhibit. Letter to Detective Payne from Pennsylvania State Police Sergeant Michael Lang. Huh. A lot of stuff here. I mean, it just kind of tells us a little bit about what we're going to potentially see in here. The one thing that just kind of caught my eye more than anything else when I was reading through here was just the stuff about the dog more than anything, just because that is something that we've been hearing quite a bit about. You know, the dog, you know, the dog was clean. There was no dog here. I mean, that was something that was brought up in court by Ann Taylor. I want to say thank you, Angie O. Thank you so much, Angie, coming in with your $25 super chat saying arrived late. I hope you're doing better. You've been in my prayers. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Yes, I'm doing better. I'm a little bit still kind of probably not 100% on my game, to be 110% honest with you. I'm a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to be. Now, when it comes to the Franks hearing, do I think they're going to end up having it? I don't know, man. But I think that if I had to take a guess, based on what happened last time, based on the fact that the judge asked for these days, I would say I'm 55-60% leaning towards they do a Franks motion hearing. That doesn't mean that that's some sort of victory for Bryan Kohberger. I don't think that even if they have a Franks hearing, that's going to end up being something like that's going to turn into like, whoa, yay, Kohberger won something. I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be a footnote, you know, into what it was. This entire thing was. It's not going to stop anything. It's not going to result in suppression of evidence. And the reason why I think that if it does happen is solely because of the fact that during the last hearing, there was a part where the judge was mentioning to Jennings to, you know, when it comes to her responses, if they were referenced in the response that she had, or if they were in the PCA or in evidence or in discovery beforehand. And, you know, if it kept coming out of her responses, then he was going to have to grant him a full Franks hearing. And then not too long after that, he asked where some sort of information came from. She said it was from her response. And he said, I was afraid that was the answer, telling me that she kind of screwed the pooch there on that one again. I know maybe that's the only thing I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so maybe I'm completely wrong in that. But it's from the outside in, from looking from the outside, looking in, it looked like it was something that didn't go in her favor. And I think that maybe perhaps they're going to end up doing it. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to go anywhere at all. Let's see. Where is the body cam of BK in the area before? What body cam of BK in what area before when? Let's see. And I'm being nice. Angel, you are amazing. yes, you are. All righty. And yeah, so I mean, to be honest with you guys, there's a lot that I'm probably missing. I had put out there. Let me do this real quick. I was speaking to some of the Discord members beforehand, and I was talking about how there's a lot of stuff that I'm probably not familiar with right now, just because of, you know, I've been out for about a week. I just kind of went through this and saw some of the things that kind of caught my eye. We saw that we had that new piece of evidence that I guess they're going to be trying to put in, which is that stop that they had earlier, which again, like none of this stuff is going to be smoking gun. Like, oh, there it is. This is the piece of evidence that we've been looking for. Even the stuff I think in the Franks hearing, it's going to be limited to the early on stuff, because if you can get that thrown out, then you can get everything else that was thrown out afterwards. So you don't have to go into detail into all the other stuff that was found after his arrest. It may be more convincing, so to speak. So let's see. But I had talked to them. I was like, hey, if anybody wants to jump on, maybe share something with me that I didn't see. And here's the link. I'll keep it open for about 10 minutes and jump on in. We'll have a conversation if there's something I missed. I know that warning link Nina was thinking about jumping on. So it's in the description or in the live chat. Would it be crazy if someone who had just been to Spokane and through Idaho before this happened became obsessed with this case, scored Maddie's photos, likes, and saw Bryan Kohberger's profile? Crazy. There we go. Come on, Connor. I don't think Connor and I disagree very much on this case. There's other cases that we do. The IRE 404B evidence, the August body cam footage could be interesting, but it may be excluded. It's possible. See, I don't know if it's going to have anything on there. Just, I think it was mainly used to get Bryan Kohberger's like information and say, all right, look, we got this traffic stop here. This is what gives us his phone number. This gives us his address. This gives us his make and model of his vehicle, which has his license plate number, which gives us so much more information as well. I think that had more to do with why that stop is important than anything that is seen in that stop. Like, I don't think we're going to see a kill kit in the backseat of his car as the officer's walking up. I don't think we're going to see like maybe we do. That'd be crazy if we do. Could you imagine? Yeah, you walking up and then you see that his car is dextered out. What would you guys think then? Huh? If he saw his car dextered out on another night that he was out and about. But I digress. I don't think we're going to see any of that, to be honest with you. I think that if sorry about that, guys. I've been getting a little bit of pain here and there. I don't think we're going to see that. So it's just to kind of pinpoint what he was driving, when he was driving, if there was anybody in the vehicle, those type of things. That would have to be one lucky perp, and Kohberger would to be the unluckiest stiff ever. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I know, like, for instance, if we end up seeing this video, right, and let's just say that there's nothing there, I can almost guarantee you the Kohberger is going to be like, look, they pulled him over and there was nothing in the car. There's nothing there that says anything. There's no notebooks. There's no documents. There's no kill kit. He's innocent, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that was the purpose of the stop. Obviously, that wasn't the purpose of the stop at the time. They weren't thinking that the person they were stopping was out on some sort of stalking expedition. You know, I'm interested to know why they stopped him, because, failure to, the seatbelt thing at night is kind of interesting. Unless he was at a red light. That would have been funny, right? So he's at a red light, and then an officer pulls up and he's also at the same red light and looks over and then doesn't see that Kohberger doesn't have his seatbelt on. That's a possibility, right? That's a possibility. All right. I see somebody popping up at the bottom here. I haven't seen him yet come up. But yeah, I mean, but to give somebody a citation like that for something like that, I mean, I don't know. Some people are stiffers about that, right? Some officers are just like, hey, no matter what, seatbelt, we're going to give you a citation, whether you're wearing it or not, or whatever the case may have been. I mean, if you're not wearing it, no matter what the situation is, no matter if there's nobody on the road, no matter if I pulled up next to you, I'm going to give you a citation for everybody that don't wear a seatbelt, because maybe this is a traffic officer who has seen a lot of people pass away from not wearing a seatbelt, right? Those things are possible. Now, Let me see. I don't want to see somebody, Steph. I see you at the bottom. There's a private chat on the right side. Let me know there if you're good to come on, because I don't see anything, so I don't want to pull you up and you not be ready. So let me know in the private chat on the right side. There should be something that says private chat. Just type in "I'm good to go" and I'll bring you up. Tim asked, the stop could have been for something else. He gets off with the seatbelt violation. I don't know. I mean, definitely not DUI or DWI. I don't think you would do that. You're like, oh, okay, we're going to let you, you'd have to tow the vehicle. There'd be a lot more that would have been in there. And I'd have to go look at the citation. But from what I understand, the citation would have showed something to the effect like that there was a need for a tow truck and things of that nature, unless there was somebody else in the vehicle with them. Then they could have driven off. But I mean, there's a lot of like speculation that's going off there. It could have been for something else, like speeding, and then been like, all right, well, I'm gonna give you a warning for that and a citation for this. But I don't know about the DWI part. But speeding, maybe, running a stop sign. Maybe you're not completely stopping at a red light, those type of things. Following too close. It's another one. Maybe he was following too close. And then, let's see. Yeah, he could have been following too close. I'm going to put this back in there again in the live chat. Oh, so Steph, it says that you need to connect your mic and cam before they can add you to the stream. So if you're trying to figure that part out, won't let me pull you up without that. BK is really wearing a mask in the courtroom, sitting there, not saying nothing, no emotions, nothing. Maybe like a mask where like a metaphor mask. Maybe. Artworks 2 comes in with $3.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. All righty. Nina, it shows that you're muted when you I don't know if you can send me a thumbs up or anything like that when you're ready to rock and roll. I'll bring you on for a little bit. I always have trouble with StreamYard. I don't want to use my you have to give it permission for the camera, and then you can turn it off. It's not a big deal. Like you can turn it off and then I can bring you on. Warning label. I see that you are good to go. So I'm bringing you on. How's it going, Nina? Welcome to the show.
Well, don't you just look better than you sounded the other day?
I hope so. I don't feel better.
Well, I want everybody to know, I got to tell everybody about the dedication that you have. So I'm messaging Daniel, asking him all these questions because that's what I do. And he's answering them. And then all of a sudden he's like, I may have to call you back. It's a voice message. I may have to call you back. I'm in the hospital. And that's how you sounded. I was like, what? Did you get to the hospital while you were answering the questions? I mean,
I may have. I don't remember the trip to the hospital, to be honest with you.
But it was the wildest thing ever because, I mean, you were just answering away. And then all of a sudden it was, yeah, I may have to call you back. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the next thing that happened, I got the picture of your arm. And I was like, yeah, okay, you're excused.
Yeah. No, I remember you were messaging me on Discord and I was responding on Messenger.
Yes.
I only had one hand, so I couldn't respond. So I hit the voice message saying, hey, I'll respond to you in a little while.
I think we could have forgiven you if you didn't respond.
There you go. Well, people ask me some questions, people comment and some things, and sometimes I can't help myself but answer. Wow. Especially if I'm not, don't even realize it while I'm doing it. It'll happen.
I don't even know if you had got to the ketamine trip yet.
Oh no, I was already well off of the trust. I was that trip was something else. That was something else. And
Wow.
so and I see you, Steph. I'm gonna have Nina on here for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'll have you on, Steph, in the next 5. And so, Nina, what's going on? What brings you on? I know you had some comments and you've said some things in the Discord. So
Oh, I'm
bring
going
you
to
on.
die on the IGG hill. That's
What
going
do
to
you
be the
mean
hill
by
I
that?
die on.
What do you mean by that?
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Ann Taylor 100% is doing her job. She's throwing spaghetti noodles and seeing what sticks, you know.
Mhm.
And, but I get so frustrated because it's like, I don't agree that she should be able to stand up there and manipulate some of the things that she manipulates to where it's borderline lying.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean,
it drives me crazy.
I get it. I get it. You know, I'm in the same boat too. You know, I have a certain, like, I understand that a defense attorney is going to be doing what they got to do to get their client off and things of that nature. And it's their client's life on the line, right? At
Right.
the end of the day, if they don't win this, there's a good chance that their client is going to face the firing squad, if not, you know, the lethal injection. And so I understand, you know, going through all means, but the borderline lying, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm not a fan of it. You know, the some of the terms that they've used, it makes people say or think one thing or another. Like, for instance, when she was saying that, oh, he's an innocent man, and she was going on, Ann Taylor was going on and on about this, and judges um, chamber courtroom, and then now in Hitler's is Bryan Kohberger is an innocent man right now, and
And I mean, you know, she wants to sit there and go, he's been incarcerated for 2 years. He gave up his right to a speedy trial.
yeah, and the thing is, the prosecution has been wanting this trial to move forward for some time. It's been the defense that has been holding it back. Now, I know that the Proburgers will say, well, this is because they haven't gotten all the information, but I think, in my opinion, that's more, oh gosh, and more smoke and mirrors saying, hey, you know, we haven't gotten all this stuff where, you know, we've heard now two judges kind of say something to the effect that basically Ann Taylor is wanting the prosecution to do the work for her, point out what they want, what they're going to do, what evidence they're going to use, and how they're going to use it, instead of just supplying the evidence in the manner that they have been, which is what is required through law, which is just, hey, this is the evidence we're going to use against your client. We don't have to tell you exactly like a play-by-play on how, just that this is the evidence that exists. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but the big thing that really, I mean, like the whole DNA, I mean, the whole IgG thing, you know, there is not a crime lab in the United States that is capable of making an SNP snip. It has to be outsourced. There's nothing that a crime lab could do to that SNP.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that she worded it about, oh, it was doubled in size, you know, and I'm like, it's, you know, it's because, and I looked it up and it's those big words like bioinformatics, imputation and stuff like that. And all it is filling in the gaps and stuff of the sequencing. And then when you say that, oh, so they messed with it, it's mutated. I mean, no,
But,
it's
but
data. It's not blood. It's data.
what folks don't understand is all right. Well, who cares? Let's just say that they did it wrong. They got it wrong. They mutated it. It ended up pointing at Bryan Kohberger by other means. Let's throw it out.
Yeah, because once they got that buccal swab, it's
But
over.
yeah, let's throw it out. Then throw everything else out that's connected to the IgG. There's nothing there. The buccal swab is what connects them, right? What people don't understand is, or what some folks don't understand is that when it comes to the IgG, it doesn't specify or test Bryan Kohberger's DNA, or in this situation, it did not test Bryan Kohberger's DNA to the DNA on the knife sheath. It merely pointed at Bryan Kohberger as potentially the person who may have left the DNA on the knife sheath. right? So it's not a guarantee. It's not saying with 1 in 5 octillion, whatever. That's what the DNA swab is for. Now, the way you test to determine if the IgG was done correctly is determined based on if the match comes back or not. So let's take Bryan Kohberger's name out of it and let's put somebody else's. If I have a situation where I'm trying to find the identity of DNA, and we'll just say John Doe, right? And I think that DNA belongs to me or Blue. I think it belongs to Blue. And I go through this entire genetic genealogical thing and I say, all right, this DNA, in my opinion, based on all this, comes back, I think this is Blue. So now the officers have to go out there and get Blue's DNA legally. They can't they can ask him for it, but they can't force him for it. They can't say, all right, we're going to take your DNA, Blue. We're just going to strap you down and swab you. No, they can ask, or they can go and do it secretly, whether it's by trash or whatever. And the reason why you would do it secretly is so that you don't spook the guy. Let's just say it is him, and now he finds out that you want a DNA sample. It might take some time to get that thing ran or whatever. You can't hold him for anything, so he flees. So that's why you do it secretly. You go and you get it tested, and lo and behold, it comes back to a close match, but not a match, like a second cousin or something. Well, guess what? That means I did the IgG wrong, But if it comes back as a match, well, guess what? That means that the IgG was done correctly. So the fact that the IgG pointed towards Bryan Kohberger and then his DNA matched is an indication of the accuracy of the IgG, of how the IgG was done, and in fact that it is accurate. Well,
I got it.
So, yeah. That's why I think a lot of folks just kind of say, it's a mute argument. It's a futile argument. It doesn't make any sense. So,
Well, she was laying her whole thing on it last week. So, but I'm going to go and let you have your other guest.
well, thank you, Warning Label Nina. Hey, everybody go check out Warning Label Nina. She's almost to 500 subscribers. Let's get her there. Go check out her
I think I've got 14 more.
There you go. There you go.
It's
You're
been a
almost
slow
there.
go, but I'm glad it's been slow because I had a lot to learn.
There you go. There you go. Well,
And
I appreciate
thank you so much, and I'm so glad that you're better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Well, Nina, you have yourself a great one, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
All right, Steph, it still says that you need to connect your mic and cam before I can add you to the stream. I see you down here. I'll try to add you. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to connect those things, and then at the bottom, it's gonna show up where it says mute and it says stop cam. You can hit stop cam, but you're gonna have to actually have your cam added to your stream. So let's see if we can get that going. Let's see. I hope I made sense, because the it's still like not 100% like there. I'm a little bit foggy. Let me put it that way. My mind's still a little bit foggy when it comes to trying to process things right now, just based on the amount of medications I'm on. You guys would be, it's quite a few. I think I'm on like 5 or 6 pain meds, a couple of muscle relaxers, and a bunch of other different stuff. That way I'm able to function. But it really does get me a little bit foggy. Let's see. The DNA don't lie, no matter how much they want it. I know Judge Gladdy, he is done with Anne. Thank you, Canadian True Crime Buff. I appreciate that. I hope so. I did a Steelers podcast on Monday, and right before I went on there, I was on there with my buddy, and I was just kind of like trying to catch my breath, trying to think straight, then hit go, and boom, 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 went as well as I could. Got off. Everybody was like, even my buddy Shannon was like, I was kind of worried before we hit start if I was going to have to carry you, but you did really good. And I was like, yeah, man, I just can do it for a little bit, but after a little bit, I get tired, which is kind of where we're getting at right now. I'm getting a little bit exhausted. I've tried every way possible to get this. Won't let me on. Cam came up for a second. Always have. Yeah, I apologize there. I'll see what I can do about getting. What did I have before? I had oh gosh, I had another network that I used to use. Ride the wave, yeah. But yeah, so next thing we'll be looking at is just kind of just wait to see how this thing's going to portray. We're going to see if there's any more docs that drop out. The motion itself, I haven't heard anything as far as when we expect to find out if they're going to actually do a Frank's motion or not. I'm assuming it should be any day now that we should hear, and once we do, I'll go live and bring that up to you guys' attention. I do plan on going back live on the Karen Reed case and talk about some other stuff that's coming up. I'm still kind of getting back into it, so bear with me a little bit. I do plan on coming back live. What is today? Wednesday? Saturday. I was going to say probably Friday night, but we'll see, because Friday and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Fridays are my wound vac change day. And so, I guess at this point, what we'll do is we'll just kind of talk about myself and personal stuff. And so we're going to be, if all you're watching is for the Bryan Kohberger stuff, we're probably going to stop that now. But, the wound vac thing is the most painful thing I've ever gone through. It is. So I have a pretty good sized chunk of my arm missing from my forearm. And what they do is they have like this sponge that goes in there. They have this plastic stuff that goes over the sponge and this tube that goes into the sponge and through the plastic, and it sucks blood and everything to the wound area. And I guess what it does is it promotes healing and things of that nature, right? And I have to get this changed out every couple of days, and they have to literally tape up to the edge of where my skin is torn. And when they pull that tape off, it's the most painful thing. And yesterday or Tuesday Tuesday, the sponge actually got stuck to my arm. And so I was wanting to do a show last night, but I just couldn't do it because I was just tired and stuff. But I got to do that again Friday and then Tuesday and Friday. And so typically Tuesdays and Fridays were my days that I would come on out here. They may not be the days that I'm on out here now, just until this thing is over with, because those days hurt. I'll be honest. Those days hurt. I want a progress picture in Discord. I have them. Steelers fan has pictures of all of them. And to me, what it looks like if I've only taken pictures of the first one. I've only taken pictures of the first one. Sorry if you see me shaking. It freaks me out. I can't take a picture of the other ones. It freaks me out. And so my wife is taking pictures of it. But if I can say that the first one looked really, really pink, palish compared to what it looks like now. You know what I mean? So now it looks way more like what's more red. It looks more bloody. I'll put some pictures in Discord. If you guys aren't on the Discord, make sure you guys go and check it out. You got to be a member. Got to hit the join button. In fact, I'll ask Steelers fan to put the pictures in Discord. I've been meaning to look at it. Now, the puncture wounds that I have on the bottom of my arm, I had 5, and they were packing all 5. 2 of them no longer need packing at all. Well, none of them need packing anymore. They've healed to the point where instead of packing it with the string stuff, I'm putting in this stuff like collagen, I think is what it's called. And they put that in there. But oh my gosh, guys, what they ended up having to do to me on yesterday was, so I have one puncture wound that's really, really long. It's about 4 inches into my arm or so. And long story short, they needed to measure how long it was still. And so they stick the Q-tip into the puncture wound all the way down until they reach the bottom to determine how much is healed. And a lot of it is healed. A lot of it is healed, but that was the weirdest thing. They didn't even tell me. They just started violating my arm that way. And I was like, what are you doing? And so now they just put in this stuff in there. So 2 of them have completely not healed, but they've closed. And I got 3 more that are working on being closed. They look really, really good, really good. I would say the one that was about 4.5 inches into my arm is probably about maybe an inch and a half now. And so, yeah, my arm got probed. That's for sure. And, oh, Steph, I see that now. I'm probably not going to be able to. I'm getting kind of towards the end. Hey, Trina, how's it going? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. They didn't tell you because you wouldn't have let them do it. That's probably true. I had my arm up and all of a sudden I felt someone was like, what are you doing? And then I heard my wife go, yeah, what are you doing? When she said, what are you doing? I was like, they really are doing something they're not supposed to be doing. And, yeah, it felt weird. And they were like, all right, we're going to just put in these, instead of packing it twice a day. Now you just have to do this once. And then, what do you call it? So that changed, but yeah, Fridays, they got to change it. And oof, it sucks. It sucks bad, guys. I would not want anybody to go through that. I usually take like a little towel that I bite on, and we forgot for me to bring a little washcloth so that I can just bite on it. Cause I'm telling you, the pain is bad. You have a drain tube in, talk about pain. I got a tube in. I don't know if you guys will hear it, but every now and then you hear like the sucking noise. It's from this thing right here. That's that tube right here that's going down. That's the sound of it sucking my arm and the blood and nastiness. Yeah, it's right here. Arm is all. So there you go, guys. I know you guys haven't seen it, but it's right up in here. Yeah, I wear a black shirt. You can't see my strap here for the sling that I'm wearing. But that's probably going to do it for me, guys. I think I'm ready to go lay down. You guys have a great night. I'll probably be back on Saturday, if nothing else. And if something pops up earlier, I'll probably come on. I don't remember. I think Friday I have my wound vac change around noon. Last time I did it at early in the morning, and I was okay by the evening. I'm still very tired. The fact that it's going to be closer to noon, I think on Friday probably means I'll be out on Friday night. But we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping it doesn't get. I hope it's easier. You know what I mean? I hope it gets easier every time they change it. This is the only thing that hasn't. The packing got easier. All that has gotten easier. The wound vac thing has not. It's the only thing that's gotten progressively worse, in my opinion. Yeah. I know. I bite on a washcloth when they pull that thing out. It is so painful. But you guys, I'll be back. I'm gonna put in the you know what, let me do that right now while I'm talking to you guys so I don't forget, because I have a tendency of doing that. Let me do that right now. I'm gonna put in the Discord, the link for the Discord. Copy the link. All right. I'm gonna put that on here in a second as I close out the show. I'll be putting a for the members, the Discord link, and then I'll be putting in the I'll put in the updated pictures on my arm so you guys can see it. I think they're telling me that it'll probably be another. Every time I go in there, they keep telling me it's another month. So I'm assuming another month to 6 weeks before my arm will be completely done and healed, I guess. But I made a post. It's in there for the members. Go check it out. Until next time, guys. Let's see. Well, you know what? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything real quick. Thank you, TCF, for becoming the newest YouTube member. Thank you, Frenchie84. Artworks 2. NGO. And I believe I caught everybody else. All righty, guys. Until Saturday.